Hello everyone, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Amanda.
And today we're going to do a spoiler-filled review for It Chapter 2 from 2019.
We didn't stop it.
Pennywise.
You lied. And I died. You lied! And I died!
So the plot of It Chapter 2, I'll have Amanda give the plot of It Chapter 2.
Well, we have the plot being the losers all grown up. Coming
27 years later.
27 years later. They're all out, they're living their lives, they're doing their things, and they get a phone call from Mike asking them to come back to Derry because it isn't dead.
Yep. And in this, Mike has apparently stayed in Derry all this time. So, is the only one who ends up remembering everything that happened.
Yeah.
So,
the others don't even remember living in Derry. It's just like complete and total blank for them.
Right. So, and it's basically them trying to remember what happened.
A lot of it is them trying to remember and then trying to get into that point where they can go down and have their final battle with it.
Yeah. With Pennywise the Dancing Clown.
But it isn't really just Pennywise they're fighting, and that's the thing. I mean, I think that by the end of it, we understand that Pennywise is a thing, but there's something deeper and darker and nastier than Pennywise. And Pennywise is just a face of that.
So nastier than Bill Skarsgård?
Hey, Bill Skarsgård did a good job. He really did.
Yeah, I still think he nailed it as Pennywise in this one.
Yes, Pennywise was exemplary. Wow, that's a vocabulary.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So what did we like about this movie?
Okay, I'm going to start off by saying that I'm going to disagree with just about everything that Josh has to say, because I saw it, and I'm sitting there in the theater with my sister, and I am scared shitless through the whole thing. I mean, the whole theater knew I was scared. There were a few times when I kind of screamed, and my sister was afraid I was having an asthma attack and everything. I was there. I was in the story. I was scared, okay? And I love that. I love being able to just be completely and fully immersed in a thing and not looking at it and saying, well, I have a problem with that, or, oh, that looks stupid, or, oh, I would have done that different. And, you know, in retrospect, there are some things that maybe could have been done differently. I think, all in all, it was very true to the spirit of the book. Not to say that it was all literal, because it was not, but it was very true to the spirit of the book, and that it worked for me. I was scared. I thought it was good, and that's where I'm going to start with it, looking at it as an author and the way that things translated to film. And I'm going to say it worked for me.
And I'm going to look at this as someone who still have not read the book. May at some point, probably listen to an audiobook of it I found, but it's like that book is so freaking long. Even the audiobook is like, even with its, like, it's like a total of like 10 hours long for the audiobook.
That's actually not a very long audiobook, but the book it's a monstrous book. It's this thick. It's like 1,300 pages.
Like, I feel like for me, I probably would have to listen like 30 minutes a day of it, which would take me about 20 days to finish it.
Yeah, but then you'd know.
Yeah, and so the stuff I liked about it, I like overall, like, whether or not the actor's performance was good or not, I did like the casting. It was almost perfect.
Yeah. Wasn't a lot of it the things that the kids themselves recommended for who they wanted to play? Yeah, like, for example,
Finn Wolfhard recommended Bill Hader as Richie.
Oh, and that was so spot on. It was just amazing.
Yeah, like, honestly, Bill Hader as adult Richie was the standout of the movie for me.
Yeah, adult Richie was good. I also like the way that they did change what happened in the book and had Mike step up a lot more instead of just being the dude that remembered. who
Yeah.
got stabbed by Henry Bowers in the hotel room and ended up in the hospital, that he was there and went into the sewers with them.
But I would even say, like, other casting choices, including, like, Henry Bowers was good, adult Henry Bowers was good,
Mhm.
and, even down to the, like, chick from the drugstore from the first movie
Yeah,
was good casting, you know?
it was all pretty good.
So, and they got a lot of the actors to also look like the kids, so.
They did. It was really impressive.
Yeah, like, I mean, honestly, I would say that casting is about as good as what I would have done, probably.
Yeah, I think that they had a lot of really good talent to work with.
Yeah, and, yeah, I thought the acting was pretty good for the most
Yeah,
part.
it was. I think that they really gave a good performance. That, I mean, I was scared. There were times I wanted to cry. It just, for me,
There was
it all,
also some humor in there that was...
Oh, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I think it all just really worked. And of course, there was the obligatory Stephen King cameo.
Yeah, because, I mean, Stephen King basically just did a Stan Lee cameo.
Pretty much.
And also, I wonder if this, like, Stephen King cameo, like, Stephen King was just there to basically say, fuck you to everybody who didn't get my books or didn't understand, you know?
Well, that's the thing, though. It is definitely vintage Stephen King. He does cameos in,
Yeah.
like, almost all his stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's brilliant. I love it.
Honestly, I would say for me, other than Sleepwalkers, where he came in and is like, I'm not taking it on the rap for this, not my fault, this is probably the best one he's done.
Yeah. You're an author. You can afford it. Because in some ways, Grown-Up Bill is him.
Stephen King, you know?
And I think it's great that they kept making fun of him for the way that everybody hated the endings of his books.
Because honestly, that is the case. A lot of people think the endings of his books suck.
Well, Stephen King doesn't really do happy endings, though. That's the thing. But I think that that's, like, the mark of a good horror writer, too, is that
I mean, I
things
agree.
don't end happy.
Yeah. But for me, too, I will admit, because I did recently read the audiobook for the short story To Children of Corn, I didn't feel like the ending was finished at all. Like, at all.
He likes to leave things open, and he does that a lot on purpose, because then it kind of takes...
Yeah, and the ending was just kind of confusing to me. Like, I didn't really knew what was going on through a lot of the book.
Okay, the ending of it, or...
The ending of the Children of Corn short story.
Okay, but we're kind of focusing on it right now.
I know.
So...
I just thought I'd bring that up.
Okay. We don't want to bunny trail too much.
Yeah.
But that is just kind of a thing that he does, is that, you know, life isn't tied up with all these little bows, happy endings. And I actually, as an aspiring author, just as a person who lives in the world, I respect that, because...
Yeah, and I respect that too, because I'm not saying everything should be happy endings, you know? I'm not saying that.
No.
That one film that I really liked that really didn't have a happy ending was the end for the original Saw movie.
Yeah, I could see
So-
that. But it's his style. It's just kind of gritty and in your face, and, you know, and there's some real depth of things that can be pulled out there. And one of the things that does make this one a little different than some other Stephen King books is that real definite element of there is a monster here, instead of just we're all fighting against our own human frailties and foibles and things like that, because, you know, being human is monstrous enough, guys. I mean, we know that, right?
Honestly, I wonder if at times Bill Skarsgård might be a real monster, because he does that so well.
No, I think he's just a dude who has some talents and
And
looks
maybe-
a little creepy.
And maybe have a little bit of issues.
Well, we've all got issues, though.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. We've all got issues.
I mean, a lot of people feel like they can portray a psychotic killing clown really well.
Yeah, but okay. So, I don't even really know what to say about it other than, for me, it worked. For me, it was good. And I know that there are a lot of things that some other people had issues with, like the whole storyline with Bill and how it felt like, again, he failed to save Georgie.
Which I did like that. You know, I did like that, you know, like, and I know other people did too. Thought that was a interesting, you know, addition.
Well, I think though that it also shows that it wasn't about Georgie anymore because let's face it, Georgie'd been dead for 27 years. And what was really Bill's issue with that anymore, I don't think it was just that he lost his brother, which was traumatic, but that he was carrying this guilt that maybe Georgie wouldn't have died if he had been there.
Yeah.
Or maybe they both would have died,
Yeah.
you know?
I have a feeling they both would have died.
But that he felt responsible for his brother's death. Yeah. And that he finally was able to forgive himself for that. To, you know, say, this isn't you. There's other things going on in the world. And, you know, give himself a little bit of absolution on that point, if you will. It just, I think that that was some good character growth on the part of Bill. Because for Bill, honestly, you look at it when they were young and everything else, it was all about his brother.
Oh, and speaking of the actor James McAvoy, he is the one who decided to, like, he did suggest the whole Carnival Funhouse mirror sequence. That was his idea.
Oh, that part was awesome.
Yeah, like,
the whole licking the glass thing, just
although the licking of the glass thing, I'm not sure at times that that's meant to be scary or funny, because to me it kind of looks like one of those Snapchat filters.
Oh, yeah, that scared me. It just, I was scared.
Although,
I squeaked.
Although at the same time, do you see them putting the Snapchat filters on that?
I don't do Snapchat, so I don't know, but
I've seen people actually did that.
It worked for me. That's the thing. It all worked for me, and I think that just...
I guess for some people it's like, you know, like, especially if the main form the Screecher's taking on as a clown, there's going to be something you're going to find funny.
Well, and even the characters in this were making fun of, like, the dance and, you know, all the rest of that, which was one of the things from the first part that everyone thought was ridiculous. And the adults, they do make fun of that. But, you know, I think that one of the other things to bear in mind with this is willful suspension of disbelief. You know, if you go into it looking at this as like, yeah, it's a clown, haha, that's funny, huh. You know, it's one thing, but I mean, I went in wanting to be scared, expecting to be scared, and I was scared because I wasn't looking for the reality of it. I let myself kind of be played into the fantasy of it, if you will.
And I do got a question for you. Did you felt Bill Skarsgård did a better job as Pennywise in this one than the first one, or did you prefer him in the first one?
Oh, I think he was just absolutely chilling in both, but I think in this one he really brought it. He really brought it because I think that he understood the thing that we all kind of fundamentally understand is that as adults, we're not scared of the same things that we're scared of as kids.
Yeah.
That as kids, we have, in some ways, very simple fears, but that as adults, we're afraid of divorce and pain and taxes and things that are a lot more ephemeral than mummies and the dark and big statues of Paul Bunyan.
Yeah.
You know? I screamed at that point. Everyone in the theater thought I was nuts. Seriously.
Also, I guess we could mention what we didn't like.
Okay.
What did you not like about it?
I can't really find a thing. I can't really find a thing that I just went, no! Oh, no! I couldn't find a thing like that. I mean, I guess looking at it from a different perspective, the whole Pennywise the spider thing at the end was just kind of goofy. Yeah. But by that point, I mean,
I know some people felt like the whole spider clown thing at the end just looked more ridiculous than even the one in the It miniseries.
Okay, but that thing was ridiculous, okay? But I think that it was just basically, what I saw was this clown taking on another aspect of something terrifying while still remaining the clown in some other respects.
Yeah. And I did like the fact that during there, because of course it was all digital, but I know Bill Skarsgård actually did a motion capture for the clown part of that spider.
Yeah.
So that he could still capture his performance with it.
Well, it's like the whole thing with the Hobbit stuff with Benedict Cumberbatch was playing this gigantic dragon, but he did all the motion capture for it too, because that was how he felt he could really be in the role.
Yeah.
So,
And the one thing I do like with Bill Skarsgård in these movies is that through behind the scenes, I do know he has read the book. He knows, like, he really delved into the character of Pennywise and the creature itself too. So
yeah.
in fact, he even knows that in the book, Pennywise, the clown, is its favorite form. It has fun with it.
It does, and that's
that's what he tries to emulate, like, because Bill Skarsgård is really having fun with the Pennywise character.
And that's just it. I mean, monsters have fun too, right? But
and
that was the thing that I know that a lot of people, they found absolutely it did not work for them.
Yeah.
That was just ridiculous. I thought that there were going to be some pacing issues, but for me there really weren't. And I know that a lot of people said that it relied really heavily on those flashbacks, which to me makes sense because the adults don't remember crap. And so we see them remembering and experiencing and getting back into that headspace that they needed to be in to go down into the sewers and kill the nasty clown. Which, what sane adult would do that? None. There's not a sane adult in the whole world that wouldn't do that without, a bazooka or something.
Also, another thing I didn't like about this, one thing I didn't like about this movie is that, not only that I felt like it relied too much on the child aspect, like the child actors and that, which I get it, even though the adults didn't remember much. I feel like there could have been more with that, in my opinion, but here's the thing, when they showed the kid actors, I was kind of put off by it, because it's like, first of all, did you notice there was a lot of digital things going on with their faces, especially Richie?
Because they'd grown up.
Yeah, and knowing that, did you also notice that it seemed like they kind of changed the pitch of their voices, too? That seemed a bit distracting.
No. I did not notice that at all.
I did.
But I think that, you have to remember, it was 2 years since they shot the first one.
Yeah, I get that.
So,
I get
and
that,
especially those kids at that age.
Yeah, and I get that, but to me it just was a bit distracting.
Did not bother me at all.
Well, for me, because when I go into these films, I also focus on just, how it is as a film, and
But as a filmmaker, where if that was a thing where you need it, how else would you do it? Where these kids are so seriously going through puberty and all the rest of it. I mean, what else would you do? You don't want to bring in other kids.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe what I would have done, is, just in case on the chance of that happening, is maybe film a lot of their stuff during when I'm filming it, Chapter 1, maybe.
Okay.
That's what I would have done probably if because, there's a potential of that happening, with, kids growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would have maybe done, is film all this stuff during in Chapter 1, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
So that I would have not run into this problem. So.
But that also implies an incredible amount of foresight on the part of, filmmakers and producers and things that isn't necessarily always there.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, if I was the one who directed both of these, that's what I would have done, just in case.
Okay.
So,
well, it's hard to shoot stuff for a movie that hasn't been written yet.
True.
But, that neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Anything else that really just stood out to you as, oh my god.
Well, for one, I feel like the movie didn't really need to be almost 3 hours long. There was some stuff that I feel like could have been cut, and, because I felt the runtime of the first one was good, 2.5 hours, I feel like that's all this film really needed to be, was 2.5 hours, and I just, there were some scenes I think they could have cut and still would have been good, probably not better.
Yeah, I just don't, for me, I don't know what they realistically could have cut and still told the same story.
Yeah, and honestly for me, because it's like, if you were to watch both these movies back to back, it would be a little bit over 5 hours long, which is even longer than the It miniseries.
Yeah, but it's better done in the miniseries, right?
Okay, from...
I mean, let's be realistic. It is better done than the It miniseries.
I mean, so far, like, me and Josh are currently watching the It miniseries, and we do think there are some stuff that were done better in the It miniseries, and some stuff that was done better in the new ones, you know?
Okay.
So,
Okay. So what did you really like?
with which one?
The one we're talking about.
The It miniseries?
No, the movie, Josh.
Oh, It.
Yeah, what did you really like out of what you saw in this movie?
I thought we already did that.
Oh, well, I had some other things I was going to throw in.
Oh, you could do that.
Okay. I really liked, and this is even different than the book, I really liked what they did with grown-up Stan. With Stan through the whole thing of this, I thought that was better, that was more well explained, that and it's something that changed, and it changed in some ways that it's not just Stan was a coward and opted out, that's it, goodbye. You know, which is kind of what it was, and, you know, seeing it from the perspective of Stan as a kid, I get it. I absolutely do.
I did like that change. I did.
That, you know, and the note that he left, he said it wasn't even a suicide note, it's just, if we're not all there together, I know we can't beat it, and I also know that I can't be there, so this is me doing what I need to do to give everybody the best chance of making this work, and if you're reading this, I guess it did.
Oh, I forgot one thing I mentioned I did like. There was a scene that really, I think, paid homage to John Carpenter's The Thing, with Stan's head and that.
Oh, yeah. That.
And they even said a similar line, it's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, when that scene happened in The Thing movie.
Yeah.
So, I did like that. I did like the homage John Carpenter's The Thing.
And I liked what they did, like the synagogue scene with Stan at his bar mitzvah, and Stan saying, you know, if this is what it means, I don't want to grow up. I don't want to be a man. And I think that showed in some of the choices that Stan made going into this, and some of that's just, I don't want to have the responsibilities and the weight of the world on me. I want to be a kid. I don't want to have to deal with this. And that was true for what he went through in the first part. It was true for what he did in the second part. And I really feel like for both Stan and in some ways for Mike as well, that this series of films really developed those characters in some good, better ways than even the original literature did.
Yeah, and also, another thing I will point out I didn't like about this is I feel like it was way too even more reliant on CGI than the first one. I feel like there could have been more use of practical effects. You know?
Yeah, especially if this was supposed to be as big of a budget as it was.
Yeah.
But I think that some of the things that they did are a lot harder to do with practical effects.
Yeah, and I get that, but I feel like there was some stuff I feel like they could have done with practical effects in this.
Okay.
You know? Now looking back at it, there are some things I feel like in the first one they could have done to make it, at least somewhat make it, like, to where you could tell, like, yeah, it's really there, you know? So.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just had this image of the clown in the locker now, and that just random brain fart on my part. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. Well, don't forget, there may be a point here soon you may get a clown visiting you.
Please no. Please no. Anyway.
So yeah. I mean, I did have issues with it. I overall liked it. I honestly prefer it Chapter 1 over this. I felt like that was a better executed movie and everything. I felt like it was much more rewatchable in this one. I don't think this one has that rewatchability value as the first one does.
I will binge both frequently on a frequent basis. That's just a me thing. I will very gladly and happily binge them both.
But for me, it's like I did like this enough to where I might get probably will get it on Blu-ray to go with my Blu-ray of It Chapter 1.
Oh yeah, the instant it comes out, I'm totally buying it and watching them.
So I'm perfectly fine with having it sitting next to It Chapter 1 in my DVD collection.
Well, because otherwise it's only half a story.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe I may watch it every once in a while, just not as much as the first one.
Okay.
So, and honestly, I'm not sure if it would be better if I watch it, both back to back,
That
it
might
would be
be
a better experience like that, but if I were to do that, that's like a little 5 hours long.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Okay, so
I guess we'll get to our ratings now.
Yeah, how would you rate it?
So I'm going to rate It Chapter 2 a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Honestly, I think it was okay. It could have been much worse. We did have to worry that it could have been pretty bad. The potential for that. It wasn't as bad as I think it could have been. It could have been much worse than it was. I did like some stuff about it, but I just feel like there were some problems with stuff like execution, effects, and and plus there's not much rewatchability factor to this in my opinion. Like, I could see myself rewatching It Chapter 1 way more so than It Chapter 2. So.
Okay, and for me, it was definitely like 4.5 out of 5. I loved it. I was scared. It just, there are always things that could be changed or tweaked. But I think that overall, it remained true to the spirit of Stephen King's vision, and it really worked for me. I was scared, and that made me happy. So,
and I did heard before we go, that the directors and them are actually saying that this may not be the last we see Pennywise on the big screen.
What?
Yeah, they're thinking about doing another.
Are they doing a Pennywise movie now?
I'm thinking. I heard there's I know Bill Skarsgård even suggested them maybe doing a prequel.
Okay.
Covering more of Pennywise's backstory in that.
Okay. Alright.
Because there's so much stuff that they left out in these that they could expand upon.
Yeah, as far as the Pennywise character is concerned, I'm sure that they could.
So, if they do that, what would you be like about that?
I'd go see it. That would be something that I would be more skeptical about.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
And I do know because I did some research on a lot of Stephen King's books and that. I actually did heard that there's hints throughout his later books and then after it that Pennywise may still be alive.
Yeah.
So.
There are hints in a lot of other things, and it just being someone who's read Stephen King's books. Yeah.
So
I think that for the Losers Club, Pennywise was definitely over. But is evil ever really dead? Is fear ever really dead? And if you look at Pennywise as the embodiment of fear, who knows?
I mean, the reason he feasts on children is because of their fear. It's because apparently to him, fear, they taste better when they're afraid. Honestly, sometimes I feel like my food tastes better too when it's afraid.
Actually, technically, medical science says that animals taste worse when they're afraid. Oh. That adrenaline makes the meat taste funky. But
it's like if I grab let's say a turkey and cheese sandwich and be like, "You ready to die, turkey and cheese sandwich? You better be afraid. You better be afraid."
Okay. And back to reality.
What is reality?
Uh,
What?
yeah. So, it chapter 2, apparently there's some difference of opinion here,
Yeah.
but I still think it's worth going to see. Go check it
Yeah.
out and make your own opinions.
I especially would recommend it to people who are, who like the first one. If you like the first one, even if you have not read the book, still go check it out, make your own opinions on it. And also especially to people who like the book, just anybody who liked the It material in general, I'd still recommend go see it, make your own opinions on it, Some of you will like it, some of you would think it's okay, some of you may just hate it.
But, that's one of the beautiful things. You have
Yeah.
a brain, you should
Yeah.
go decide for yourselves. And, listening to other people give their opinions is fine.
Yeah.
Don't stop doing that. But,
Just
just go decide for yourself.
yeah, and also think for yourself, It's your opinion, Nobody's going to change that for you.
Nope.
So,
So I think that's it.
yeah. So I guess that's it for this review. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.
I'm Joshua,
And I'm Amanda.
and we'll see you next time.